So I didn't start doing reviews until I think April-ish, April or May of this year. I did some last year on a different channel, but there was a big gap in between of movies that I haven't reviewed. So I thought it might be fun to just go back over the ones that I've seen so far this year and just give brief thoughts on them. A burst review of multiple films, as it were. So yeah, let's burst. No, that doesn't work. That sounds shit.
Put the bunny back in the box.
Okay, so these are the movies of 2018 that I have seen but I haven't reviewed. It's not all of them. I'm going to do two of these, I think, because there's a lot of movies that, for example, Upgrade is one that's been out in the States, but it's not out over here, and by the time it does come out here, there's not a lot of point in reviewing it. So movies like that, like Adrift, Tag, those sort of movies I will do another burst review for at some point in the future, just so I can have everything reviewed for 2018, even if it's just briefly, all of the mainstream movies at least. So let's begin with Black Panther. Black Panther was a movie I wasn't overly looking forward to. The trailers for it didn't do anything for me at all. I wasn't overly excited for it. It was the first one since Doctor Strange that I was just, okay, it's just another Marvel movie. Blew me away. This is, I need to look at my ranking list again, but I'm pretty sure it's in the top 5, maybe even the top 4 MCU movies. I've got it in 4K now, I've watched it again. Still just as good the second time. The cast is amazing. Shuri is, I think, my favourite character in the MCU now. Chadwick Boseman's great, Denai Guerrero was great, Andy Serkis, Martin Freeman. Everybody in this film is brilliant. Killmonger, I think, is one of the best villains that the MCU has had. I genuinely love that character. It's a shame he was killed off, because I'd love to have seen him come back from the second one. But hey, anything's possible in Marvel. But yeah, absolutely loved Black Panther. Seen it twice, want to watch it again. Great film. 9 out of 10 for Black Panther. Den of Thieves. Den of Thieves is the movie starring Gerard Butler, one of his more serious movies, and this film is basically Heat. It's just another version of Heat, and it's fine. Like, some of these I'm not going to have a huge amount to say about, and Den of Thieves is one of them. Like, it didn't grab me for a lot of the runtime. I found it dull in a lot of places, but the performances were good, and yeah, it is just a rehash of another much better movie. They're talking about a sequel for this. I don't really understand why, but yeah, I liked it well enough. It's just not one that I'm eager to rush out and see again. I don't even know if it's one that I buy on Blu-ray, but overall, yeah, it was 6 out of 10. 3 Billboards outside of Ebbing, Missouri. This one was 2017, I think, in America. Over here, we got it this year, very early this year. There's a couple of these on this list. 3 Billboards is an incredible film. The only problem that I had with it was the ending. The ending, I thought, I kind of see what they were trying to do, sort of leave it a little bit open-ended, but we're not going to get a sequel to this. 4 Billboards inside Ebbing, Missouri. There's not going to be a sequel. I don't even know why I'm thinking of a sequel name. The performances in this are incredible. Frances McDormand is just a masterclass in how to do a performance. Every single scene that she's in, she nails. It's a powerful performance. It's quite a subdued performance as well. There are moments where she kind of lashes out, and it's just a phenomenal watch. As it is from everybody, Woody Harrelson, again, he's absolutely incredible in this. Sam Rockwell finally starts getting awards, and they're well deserved. His character isn't a particularly nice character, and I think that got a bit of controversy from people saying that he seemed to go through some kind of lame redemption at the end. But I just see it as a very complex guy, and sometimes you can have people in there who are bad guys who don't really get any kind of comeuppance. It's not a film that's going to leave you overly satisfied, I don't think, at the end, but then not all movies should. But yeah, as I say, that ending didn't do a lot for me. I wanted a little bit more. It felt like it just kind of cut out, or somebody lost the last 10 minutes of the script, for example. But other than that, I absolutely loved it. 9 out of 10 for 3 Billboards. Cloverfield Paradox. The best thing about this movie was the promotional material for it. Was the announcing that it was during the Super Bowl, wasn't it? Yeah, it was in the Super Bowl, and it was Cloverfield Paradox is out in a couple of hours. You can go watch it on Netflix. And that was a really exciting moment, and yeah, I was stupidly excited to go and watch it. I had to get, it was like ridiculously early in the morning here, like 3 AM I think, but I watched it the next day and it wasn't very good. The problem I have, I think, with the Cloverfield Paradox is that it's very, very clear that it was never meant to be a Cloverfield movie. The Cloverfield aspects on this felt so shoehorned in. They were so unnecessary. I'd have been much more interested to see what this film was if it was completely removed from that franchise that it was just forced into. But then saying that, even that wasn't particularly interesting. There were some good ideas here. There were some good performances, but overall it was muddled. It was a bit slow in places. It wasn't overly interesting. It felt like a lot of missed potential. Yeah, I'm going to give Cloverfield Paradox 5 out of 10. 1517 to Paris. Oof. I mean, look, there's no denying that the three guys at the centre of this are heroes. They did something incredibly heroic, and they deserve a lot of praise for what they did. They are not actors. That's one of the biggest problems. There's many problems with this film, actually. But that's one of the larger problems, is that they had these three guys come in to basically act out what they actually did. But these guys are terrible actors. Like, right from the start, right from the opening monologue where they're driving around and the guy's like, I can't remember what he says, but it's sort of like, I remember when we were driving down this road. And it's awful. It's so bad. And then there's the fact that the actual event that this film is based around took place over a few minutes, yet they managed to drag it out for over 90. And it is only a 90 or so minute movie, I think, from memory, but even that feels too long. We spend so much time going back to their childhood. And with all due respect, who really cares about how these guys met? The film doesn't do anything to justify why we should take an interest in what these guys did before that event. And it's just such an arduous film. The script isn't brilliant. As I say, the performances are terrible. The pacing is all over the place. When it actually gets to the moment, it's really well done. It's a really great scene, but the rest of it is absolute garbage. 3 out of 10 for this one. Game Night. Game Night surprised me in many ways. I'm a bit sceptical when it comes to comedies these days. I find comedies are a lot more miss than hit. Game Night was amazing. I loved it. Rachel McAdams was a revelation in this film. She was so funny and so good. Jason Bateman was great. Everybody actually was brilliant. Jesse Plemons as the horrendously creepy neighbour almost stole the entire film. The script was sharp. The script was funny. The story was good. I liked the idea of it. I thought it was executed really, really well. This is my favourite comedy of the year so far. 9 out of 10 for Game Night. Red Sparrow. Do you know, I genuinely think Jennifer Lawrence needs to be a little bit more careful with the kind of movies that she chooses, because it may just be my perception, I'm sure this isn't the case, but it seems like her stardom is kind of on the decline now. First she did Mother, which I actually really liked Mother. There's a review for this, actually I stole it from the old channel and put it on this one, so I did really enjoy Mother, but it was an incredibly divisive film. And even as a fan of that film, I understand why. I get why people don't like it. Red Sparrow, though, was just so dull. It was such a boring film. I mean, she's good in it. Jennifer Lawrence is a great actress, and she's very good in this as well, but the story itself, like, there's the basics of a good story there. There's something good that can be done with it, but in the execution, it just failed on so many levels. Like, I spent so much time watching the clock in this one rather than watching the screen. There was nothing overly compelling in it other than a few good performances. It was just a very, very slow, meandering film that really just never really caught light. I'm going to give Red Sparrow, I think a 5 out of 10 for Red Sparrow. I was really disappointed with it. The trailers, I thought it was going to be good. Turns out, it really wasn't. Tomb Raider. This disappointed me a lot. Tomb Raider I was really looking forward to. After the Angelina Jolie movies, which the first one I kind of like in a weird way. Like, I know it's not a good film, but I still enjoy it for what it is. It's a guilty pleasure, if you will. But this one, Alicia Vikander is a fantastic actress, so I thought perfect Lara Croft. And it seemed from the trailers they were going to borrow a lot from the games, sort of the modern games, which again I thought was a really good idea because those games are incredible. But what we got, the finished product, was just really lacking. There was so much time spent before she even got to this island, such as a whole sequence where her bag gets stolen and she has to chase people to get it back, and that was really strange. But yeah, much like I kind of said for Red Sparrow, this is a very similar kind of brief review. I never felt that this film got going. The tomb was such an uninspired tomb. It was just a generic, this is what you find in a tomb, this is what you'll get here. There was nothing inventive with Tomb Raider. There was nothing really even fun about it, which was the main problem I had. It was, again, a slow, boring film. And this is Tomb Raider. This is Lara Croft. There should be so much fun to be had here, but they just never did it. They just never found a way to make this an engaging film, and that's such a shame. I don't think we'll ever get a sequel to this, so I don't think there's going to be a chance for them to redeem it. But maybe in 10 years or so we'll get another Tomb Raider and they can finally do it right. This one didn't. Same score as Red Sparrow. Tomb Raider, 5 out of 10. Going a bit more positive now then for Love, Simon. Love, Simon was a film I saw by accident. It was a secret screening at Cineworld. I can't remember what I was hoping it was going to be. It certainly wasn't Love, Simon. That certainly wasn't the one I was hoping for, but I'm so glad that it was. This film is such a delightful film. It treats a young person coming out in a way that's it feels natural. It feels like a nice way to do it. Like, it's not forced, it's not over the top. This character of Simon is such a believable character, and the performance, and I forget the actor's name now, he was in Jurassic World, but the performance is just such a great performance from everybody involved, really. The only main problem I had with this was sort of the villain-ish character, you know, the friend who's a bit of a dick who outs Simon, who never really gets any kind of comeuppance at all for his actions. That's my main problem with Love, Simon, so much so that it does knock the film down a couple of marks. But overall, just a really delightful film that actually affected me emotionally. I got a little bit to wipe something from my eye and hope nobody saw towards the end of Love, Simon with the Ferris wheel scene. Yeah, really good film. If you haven't seen it, I strongly recommend. I can't speak English. I strongly recommend checking it out. 8 out of 10 for me for Love, Simon. Ready Player One. Now, full disclosure, I'm a big fan of the Ready Player One book, which did affect my enjoyment of the movie quite some way, because there's differences that are made here, and I get that there has to be differences between a book and a film. Like, I completely understand that, but I think the changes that they made to the game itself really cheapened the game. For example, I probably should do a longer video on this. I'm going to try and keep it brief, but for example, the first challenge in the book is, the challenges have 2 stages. So they have the first challenge, and then you have a second challenge once you have the key in the gate. I think something along those lines. It's been a while since I've read it, but it's a lot more to it. It's a lot more involved. It's sort of play games against a sort of a knight figure or something. And again, probably should have researched this because my memory is a little bit shaky on it. But yeah, it's involved. There's a lot to it. Here it was a race. Like, the first challenge was just a race, and to win the race, he just goes backwards. And there's a lot of that in the film. There's a lot where it just feels like it's a bit easy. How has nobody figured this out yet? Whereas in the book, you can kind of understand it. You can kind of see why it took so long. And yeah, the book has more time to do things, but just the changes they made here, I didn't work for me as well. But that being said, the film is a visual delight. I've only seen it once, so my opinion of it may change when I see it again. But I can't wait to actually watch it, just to see all the little things that I missed, all the little cameos from different characters from different franchises. That's the most fun I think I had with Ready Player One. So I like the performances in it. I think the cast is fun, and it is a fun movie. I certainly don't dislike it, but just as a book fan, it failed to live up to the hype that sort of, probably wrongly, I'd built up in my head for how good this film was going to be. Ready Player One for me gets a 7 out of 10. Blockers. Another really funny film. It doesn't quite match the heights of Game Night, but it's still really funny. John Cena continues to impress. I saw Daddy's Home 2, which was terrible, and nobody came out of that film very well, I don't think. But John Cena, who, by the way, sounds a lot like Seth Rogen in this film. Did anybody else notice that? He sounds very Seth Rogen-like. But he is involved in some very, very funny moments. And the script, again, much like Game Night, is sharp. It's funny. The idea of it is good. I love that they're just trying to block these kids from doing prom night shenanigans. Yeah, really fun film. Definitely recommend checking Blockers out. 8 out of 10. Isle of Dogs. Isle of Dogs I watched very, very recently, and it's a very weird film. I'm not overly familiar with Wes Anderson's projects. I don't think I've seen a great deal of them. I do, however, want to check more of them out after watching Isle of Dogs. It's such a sweet film, and the animation in this, the stop motion, is remarkably well done. Just even little things like just watching the dogs interact and watching their eyes move and react to things. It's such a visual delight. And as I say, it's very, very strange, but I don't think it's strange in a way that should put people off, because it's just more quirky, I guess, than strange. There's just really funny lines dropped in here and there, and the story itself is actually relatively straightforward, even though it does have robot dogs and things in it. But yeah, if you've never seen a Wes Anderson film, and say I hadn't seen many of them, this could be one to check out to see how you feel about it, because it's a very good film. The voice cast is great, even if Bill Murray is a bit underused. Bryan Cranston as the main dog absolutely nails it. Highly recommend checking this out. 8 out of 10 for Isle of Dogs. Gotti. Oh, Gotti. Shit. Like, it is. Not even getting into how manipulative their advertising campaign was. I don't know if you saw it, but it was... critics hated it. Audiences loved it. Even though the audiences that were given these scores were clearly just paid to do so by the Gotti studio. But the film is every bit as bad as you'd heard. The editing is all over the place. The directing is absolutely appalling. There's this weird jaunty music played throughout the film just to try and make it seem like it's a bit of fun when it's really not. I mean, John Travolta is fine. He's probably the best thing about it. But he isn't helped by the fact the script is dire. Like, there's hardly anything really to recommend about this film. It's one of those films I would strongly recommend avoiding. It's not so bad that it's good. It's just fucking awful from start to finish. Easily one of the worst movies of the year. And when I do the top 10 worst movies of the year at the end of the year, Gotti's definitely going to be very high up, if not at the top. 2 out of 10 for Gotti, and that's being a little bit generous. Revenge. Revenge is, I believe, a French-produced movie. It's English language, but French-produced movie, and it's, unsurprisingly, a revenge film. If you haven't seen it, I don't think it got a wide release, but it's on, I think it's Shudder is what it's on, but it's such a great film. It's very heightened. Like, the violence in this is a very heightened sort of violence. There are certain things that the main character in this, the central female character, goes through that she would not survive from. But she does in this film, but that's fine because of the style of it. Like, you get it's not a film that's based in realism. Some of the things that she goes through are very, very real. Like, they do feel real, and it's a bit of a disturbing watch at times. But sort of the catharsis you get from watching her start to enact her revenge is amazing. It's a stunning film. It blew me away, this film. I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it was. 9 out of 10 for Revenge. So from bad to good, back to bad again. Truth or Dare is the worst horror movie I have seen in a very long time. There is nothing scary about this film at all. The whole premise is that they have to play Truth or Dare, and if they don't reveal the truth, or if they don't do the dare, they die. Because a demon has clearly got the mentality of a 4-year-old and has come up with this whole idea. And there's the whole bit in it whenever they're being asked the question, whoever they are in front of them transforms and gets this weird smile, which in the movie is actually described as a terrible Snapchat filter. And just because they reference it doesn't make it any better, because that's exactly what it is. Yeah, I can't recommend anything about Truth or Dare. The performances aren't that great. Violet Bean from Flash is in it, and I like that actress. She doesn't get anything to do here. None of them do, in fact. It's a terrible script. It's a terrible performed movie. It's not remotely scary. The bits that are meant to be scary with the creepy smiles just make me laugh. Yeah, absolutely awful film. Don't go anywhere near it. It's another 2 out of 10 for Truth or Dare. But let's end on a happy note with Coco. Again, Coco was released, I think, quite a lot of places last year. We got it very early this year, and I love this film. It's not one of my favourite Pixar movies. It's definitely not, but it's still very, very enjoyable. It's still much better than all of the sequels we've been getting lately, and I haven't seen Incredibles 2 yet, so I can't comment on that one. But yeah, a really nice story, a very different sort of Pixar movie. It deals with some really sensitive subjects just in a very Pixar way, in a very sweet, mature way. The film made me cry. I'm freely going to admit that. The song at the end absolutely got me. It was an instant, I say instant buy on Blu-ray. I didn't realise it was out, but I got it as soon as I knew that it was. Yeah, just absolutely delightful film. I say not one of my favourite Pixar's, but definitely one that I enjoyed, and definitely one that I've seen a couple of times and will continue to keep watching. 8 out of 10 for Coco. So they're my burst reviews so far for this year. There'll be another one of these videos, I say Adrift, Tag, those sort of movies, The Commuter. There's quite a few that I still haven't seen from earlier this year that I do want to get around to watching. Hotel Artemis is another one. I can keep listing them. There's going to be another one. I, Tonya, yeah, I can keep going. So there'll be another one of these. I say my plan is to just try and have, even if it's just very briefly, every single new movie that I've seen this year reviewed in some capacity on the channel. But I hope this was enjoyable. I hope you got something out of it. I hope it was worth doing. Let me know in the comments if it is, or if it was a waste of time. Let me know that too. I'm fine to chat either way. You can follow me on Twitter at JoePJulians. Hit like and subscribe. That would be nice. It's always nice to get new subscribers. Welcome to the gang. What's been your favourite movie of 2018 so far? What's been your worst? Let me know the thoughts on the movies that I've mini-reviewed here. Let me know what you thought about them. Let's chat all things film. But yeah, until the next video, which will be Armageddon, actually. Yeah, Armageddon Movie at 20 review will be coming next. And then next week, I think early, I'll finally have an Incredibles 2 review and a review for Skyscraper as well. The Rock doing Die Hard with one leg. He's The Rock. I'm surprised he even needs one. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.